Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names or words will never hurt me. Any of you recall saying that when you were young? I recall for many years as a child running around the playground and saying this saying many times. As I also heard many other children saying it as well. Not quite sure when I learned it, but it undoubtedly came from a parent or an adult sometime or another telling it to a child to give them strength and courage to not be derailed when someone calls you a name or says something not so nice about you. There's always a bully out there picking on other kids, whether they were smaller or younger or looked different, quiet, just different from the rest. Bullies, though, from what I recall, never stood by themselves singly when they were picking on other people. It seemed like they always had at least a small pack of bullies around them, 2 or 3 or so. The bully tends to need others around him to prop him up. I'll quote another saying, misery loves company. For it's when a bully is by himself when he's at his most vulnerable. However, we know that a bully can now hide behind the shield of social media, as so many children now are being bullied through social media platforms. Let's face it, even armed with our Teflon saying, sticks and stones, sometimes words do penetrate our armor, and words do inflict pain in our hearts. When we point out others' faults and failures, according to us anyway, or throw our weight around, we're acting just like a bully on the playground. Today in the Gospel, we continue with the 3rd week of Jesus' sermon on the plain. And as previously referenced, similar to Matthew's writing in the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus delivers the message of the Beatitudes to his disciples and to us. 2 weeks ago, we heard Jesus tell us that the poor and hungry would be rewarded and that woe would come to those who are rich and satisfied. And last week, Jesus told us to love our enemies and to turn the other cheek. And today, he tells us to remove the wooden beam for our judging eyes. He tells us, don't throw stones in glass houses. Look in the mirror first. What's actually happening when we are criticizing someone else? We're actually deflecting from anyone else looking at us. Even better, from not looking at ourselves. The first step to removing that beam from our own eyes is recognition. And the next would be forgiveness. Oftentimes, one needs to forgive oneself in order to free oneself. Forgiveness of others is hard sometimes, and it may be as hard, if not harder, to forgive ourselves. Sirach in the first reading from Wisdom and Luke in the Gospel are each pointing us out the importance of integrity and the danger of hypocrisy. What we say and what we do must be sincere and must be consistent. Otherwise, our words are those of a hypocrite. Do as I say, not as I do. People would ignore what we say if our words are empty. Miss Sheila posted yesterday on Facebook, I don't trust words, I trust vibes. People can tell you anything, but a vibe tells you everything. And that's because our words and actions go hand in hand. And as we've said in many occasions, love is an action, it's not a noun. We've seen now more than ever how words can influence or affect people. Just look at our current age of peddling disinformation through news outlets and social media. The division and hatred that is sparked towards others who have not even taken any of their own personal actions against someone. Jesus in the Gospel is pointing us towards goodness and towards truth. And Jesus tells his disciples, a good tree does not bear rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree bear good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. Now today, there's a tyrant, not just a bully, flexing his muscles and peddling lies to his citizens to justify his actions for invading an independent, democratic, and God-loving country. But rather than succumbing to the terror, the people are rising up and defending their democracy, their civil liberties, and their people. It is heart-wrenching to see the pure evil and lack of love that it takes to, for no cause or action, all except for personal gain and power, to torment, disrupt, injure, and kill fellow human beings. Today we pray for the people of Ukraine. We pray for the allied resources to support our neighbor in their distress. We pray for good trees to flourish and good fruits quickly, and that rotten trees begin to wither away. As we enter into this Lenten season, let us keep the Ukrainians in our thoughts and in our prayers. Though we have our challenges in this country, acknowledge and be grateful for what we do have that could swiftly be taken away. And be generous with your love.
Glory to Ukraine!